Alright, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for Makneos. You play Winston, Ramatra, and Sigma on this map. Um, yeah, so as a quick aside, right, I just wouldn't pay attention to people that like flame you in chat. Um, sometimes I'll play like quick play with my friends on a different account. It's like, like the range would be like silver to plat or whatever, something like that. And I get flamed by people, well, I wouldn't say all the time, but a surprising amount of the time, right? And this is, I'm someone that's literally like multiple ranks above where these people are ranked. So, yeah, I mean, it's like they'll just flame you for pretty much no reason, right? Yeah. Anyways, I watched pretty much the entire game. Um, I'd say your three primary issues right now is that your positioning needs some work. Um, it's kind of hard to generalize exactly. Um, what I want from you positional wise on the different characters you play, because they're literally like, I guess like the three tanks for the three poster tanks for the different play styles. Dive, brawl, and poke, right? But I'd say in general, you just need to focus on denying the enemies the ease of access to the walking through choke points, right? Obviously, what you do is going to look different on every character, but what you're trying to accomplish is fundamentally the same, right? So like on Ramatra, right? You can play close to choke points and try to punch people as they walk through. On Winston, you can dive like high grounds or dive choke points, right? Deny angles, stuff like that. And on Sig, you just spam the angles from like across the map, right? Generally speaking. Yeah, I'll give you actual like better pointers in the play-by-play here. Yeah. Secondly, I think your cover usage needs some work. You take a bit of unnecessary damage, right? Part of it's because it's positional wise, and then on Monkey in particular, you have like this a bad habit of trying to fight the Reaper too much, in my opinion. When you can completely ignore him, right? And part of it's just because you're standing in the open, right? You sometimes just like dive or walk in the middle of four players and just get blown up for it, right? Um, Obviously, another thing I'll do play by play because it's going to look different on every character, right? But you just need to be playing closer to cover, so it's easy just to like break LOS um, from the enemies whenever you need to, right? And like as an aside for like Winston, right? You have to be considering where you're jumping to, um, so you don't like block LOS from your own supports, right? For healing wise, right? Um, Thirdly, your cooldowns need work. Again, it's hard to generalize this because you play three different characters, but I'd say in general, your shield usage needs work, right? And this applies to Winston Bubble too. Um, Generally speaking, you use your shields either when you can't do damage and you're not like even taking damage yourself, or you just leave it up, especially on Sigma. You like put up your shield and just leave it up, not actually like peek the angle and just let it get destroyed so you don't have it for when you actually need it to like block important cooldowns and stuff, right? Yeah, so getting into play-by-play here, just a quick aside, the VOD replay system seems to still be having issues, right? I'd normally pause, or I would normally rewind to like replay points more often, but I don't think I'll be doing this because like occasionally you'll just randomly get signed out of the game, and yeah, this just completely kills review. So here you see the hog hook, right, and you see it's like 1 HP. What you should be doing now is immediately going, right, like he kind of played his hand, he's like 1. What you need to be doing right now is like jumping high ground. You could even like jump right here if you really wanted to. It's not too important right now because the hog's so weak, and just start zapping the back line so the supports are forced to heal each other and let the hog die, or heal the hog and let each other die, right? You just need to be using the fact that this guy's overextended and has no hook and go in like as soon as possible, right? Hey, don't worry about this trap. If someone steps on it, it'll do 100 damage, but you're just losing out on so much uptime just by like wasting time. This is good. This is fine. You should just done this like 3 or 4 seconds ago. It's okay. Again, right? I would be looking to see where this Kiri teleported to and jump on her because I don't think you saw the Sojourn slide. And she could have slid away, which you're still getting value, but the Kiryu is just more killable there, right? Not the end of the world. It's fine to jump the Reaper, right? His entire team's dead, so. I would say here, if your entire team's on point, you can afford to go forward with your soldier and take position high ground or something like that, right? Like if you're already high ground, I'm just gonna demonstrate this. If you're already high ground, right, you'd be denying the soldier in the angle to like shoot down your soldier here, right? Which is like your soldier like shoot here for free, or just like challenge the sojourn for free, right? If she just decides to stay and fight you for whatever reason, right? Yeah, might as well. I mean, you cap max out a 3 cap cap speed, so right. And by being forward faster, you give yourself the opportunity to like potentially catch like an overextended Kiriko, right? Right, and it just because it probably won't happen, but since you're not there, you have no clue if it does or does not happen, right? Obviously, you have to be safe or play safer because your Ana's obviously on the point, so. Here, I'm gonna assume you meant to jump high ground, right? This is kind of like a cover LOS thing, right? I'm sure you see the problem with this is it's impossible for your Ana to see, right? In fact, it's impossible to see for any of your team to see you at all. So if these people back up at all, right? Now your team literally cannot help you fight, and you'll just get shot by 5 players and die, right? And you have no way of getting away easily, right? Because you have no cover here, right? But if instead you were to jump high ground, like obviously the Reaper is teleporting up right now, which is a problem. But if you just walk here, you see you're like, you're perfectly safe because you can get healed by your Ana, drop, and if they overextend, they just get shot by your team, right? Yeah, kind of a big difference. Maybe this kind of looks like it was a mistake. You didn't mean to land here, but might as well go over that, right? Here, you should not be continuously dropping, right? This guy can just charge you and just insta-kill you, right? Or just swing on you a few times. He's just gonna hold shield here and like do nothing, right? He had a big opportunity to kill you there. This is okay, right? The Ryan's really weak. No reason to be backing up though. Once you see that Ryan's really weak, what you should be doing is continuously going in. You can land on like this wooden crate or something. Because you have bubble, right? When you have bubble, you want to get aggressive and create space for your team. Good kill, right? Because you're just very difficult to like, for one person to kill alone, right? So when you're fighting this Reaper, if you don't see a Reaper use Wraith, honestly, you should just not waste time engaging with him at all. He's like functionally impossible to kill. He's like Roadhog in the sense that like he kind of has to hard troll for him to kill you when you don't have bubble because he just gets so much lifesteal from shooting you, right? Similarly, like Hog just self heals, so they get like a ton of value just by like farming, right? So he's forcing you to just continuously move away anyways, right? And he's back to full despite not getting healed at all, and now you don't have jump, right? And you don't have armor, so you should have just disengaged sooner. Right? I think it's okay, right? You have bubble, you have primal. You see, when you have bubble, like Reaper alone isn't enough to like stop you from doing stuff, but he's just not worth engaging on. That's kind of the difference. That's good to do that there because the Kiri is obviously killable in that position. It's just that the Reaper just is like generally speaking not killable unless you see him use Wraith. Right? It's good. Just ignore the Reaper honestly, unless you see him Wraith. This is fine here. Maybe not ideal. Probably should have jumped high ground or something. Okay, so she's no side here. So this is what I'm talking about positional wise. You're about to make a big mistake. You see the Reaper ult, right? Yeah, you just kind of have to ignore that, right? Because like either he just kills your team because you don't transcendence and you just lose the fight anyways, or like maybe you're trying to jump back and like put a bubble on him so he doesn't kill your team, right? But that's not gonna help because based on your team's position, he's gonna get so much life steal, right? And it'll probably just kill someone because his team's also engaged on him. Where you are right now is already the right thing to do because you're denying the Sojourn and the Ana the ability to peek very well just by literally standing here, right? If they want to start peeking, you put down a bubble and start zapping them, and you have like you're unkillable right now because you have your ultimate, right? By jumping back, you just give away all your positional advantage, right? To go fight this like unkillable Reaper. Here, right? No reason to primal. You're full HP. You still had your bubble. You should, like, the primal heals you back to full, so you should be using like all your resources before you primal, just so, I mean, you don't necessarily even need to get kills, but you want to waste as much of their resources as possible, right? Like if you just sit here, block nade and sleep with a bubble, or just eat it before you primal, right? And just primal after she's used all her cooldowns, now she's just like 100% dead, right? And I'm sure you can see like this Ana would be a much better target for you than the Sojourn, right? Because Ana has 0 mobility, and she's also blocked herself in. Like you can literally just stand here, just block her in this room, right? Just body block her in this room and just kill her, right? Yeah, the Sojourn has slide, and she can get pocketed by the Mercy or whatever. Another small tip, right? When you see like really good Winston's primal, they'll often stop moving to line up their jump to land them, or to help them land exactly where they want to land, right? You don't need to always be holding W, right? It's something to practice, I guess. But you can just stand still temporarily to like get the perfect distance on the jump, so you get the jump damage and like don't mess up your juggles, right? Obviously, the big mistake that fight, right? You just kind of gave up your positioning for no reason, and then just kind of use primal early for no reason too, right? It's fine to get out here. This isn't one goal at this position, so. Here it's okay just to wait. You see, like, when you see it's just a Reaper up here, right? Like, it's kind of the same thing. You're not getting value by, like, forcing out his Wraith. You see, he can just get healed, right? But now you have no bubble, and you have to get healed too, but you have to, like, on offense, you have to gain ground, right? You just can't stall. You see, they see you get low and just push in, right? You're also fighting without your Ana. I think your Sojourn also died, maybe it was your Soldier. So you were pretty much also fighting a 3v5, right? Obviously, cover usage could have been better there, right? Just walk to the right a bit more, you would have died.
They can't beat me if I keep on trying.
It's fine to jump the Sojourn here. Your cover usage thing, right? You jump in the open. What you should be doing is committing to like a side, right? Because now if you get slept, you're just gonna insta die right now, right? Because you have no jump, and your bubble's still on cooldown, right? So when you do stuff like this, you need to make sure, one, you have your bubble, so you can't just get rushed down and insta killed, right? And two, you just don't want to be jumping in the open anyways, right? This Sojourn has her slide, and she just uses it obviously. So you just like come in, jump on the Sojourn, she slides away, and now you're in the exposed in the open and die. Okay, I guess you don't die for it there, but you force out Nano, and you force out your bubble just to keep you alive, which wasn't necessary, right? It just means you can't do anything for the next 8 seconds, right, until your bubble's all filled out. No real reason to jump there. I guess you're Ana? Backups? That's crazy. Nope, it was your Sen. I think. No, it was your Ana. Well, regardless, right? Nice. She has no cooldowns. Or no nade, I should say specifically. Kill. Another small optimization on Winston when people are like melee range. You basically don't lose DPS from shooting and then meleeing, but you save a lot of ammo. Here it doesn't really matter, right? Because she's already so low. Just something to consider in the future. Here, right, you don't want to be shooting, you don't want to be fighting this guy, right? You just killed 2, what you should be doing is trying to LOS him so he can't farm off you, right? He's literally unkillable when you primal, and he is Wraith, and especially because he's getting pocketed. Actually, I'm not entirely sure, I think Reaper might literally be unkillable when you primal him, just because your hitbox is so huge, and he gets so much lifesteal. Maybe not, maybe you can still kill him through it, but it's like incredibly difficult. You see, fighting the Reaper is just like not accomplished. Right? I just need bubble for this kind of stuff, right? You see, also like a problem is I haven't really brought up, not really necessary. You fed this Reaper like seriously like 60% ult charge just alone. Yeah, so that's a big problem, like taking these unfavorable engages. Right, you just here. Sure, obviously you know what the issue is, right? You jump in the middle 4 people. Like I know your team got the pick on the Reaper, but you just have no bubble and you weren't even full HP, right? What you should be doing now, you can just push card a bit, right? You can jump up here even with your Reaper, right? Wait for someone like the Mercy to get low and just force her Guardian Angel and then jump after her, right? Continue like going in the back and creating this angle for your team or something like that, right? You know, these are options, but obviously just jumping in, especially without bubble, you just can't do that stuff without bubble, right? I do think this is a pretty good swap, right? I don't think Winston's particularly good on that point, so. This is what I'm talking about, the shield usage-wise, right? I should pause the listener. You see, literally no one's shooting you, right? It took 10 damage, right? Now you just don't have it for 11 more seconds to help you open up an angle something. You know the Reaper's above. Hey, nice kill. See, shield doesn't do anything here. Obviously, just punches through it and their entire team is dead. Doesn't really matter. The problem is, with using that shield, now you can't use it. But, like, they're so far away, it's not that big a deal. Here, I prefer going top left. Like, bottom right, you just don't have cover, and your sightlines really suck. But if you, like, rotate top left, you force them into the open right, which gives your Zen a lot of opportunities to, like, get picks on them, right? Or your soldier, and your Zen just has way more kill potential at range than, like, Sojourn, right? As long as she's not, like, continuously farming rail off you. Like, this is an okay shield because it blocks damage, but your sightlines just suck, right? And just playing here positionally is just not good, right? As you can see, not the best vortex, right? You like this is a problem you have cooldown wise. Like you'll just throw cooldowns and just like not, I guess, consider the consequence of using them. You just threw it and just like threw it in a position where it's impossible for you to get cover or sorry value off of it, right? They're like out of LOS of your entire team. And they're near cover, so they just literally walk away from it and it gets no value. What you should be doing is forcing them in the open first, then using it to catch them in the in the open, where it's really easy for them to get killed by you, right? Which I think maybe your Moira was AFK there. Here, obviously, just run in the middle of 4 players, no cover, right? You might not die for it in Ramacho, but you see you force out your punch mode, don't like accomplish anything, right? Now you're gonna get hard punished. Right, you kind of lose that fight because 1, you had to go top left to begin with, right, positionally, and 2, you just walk into their entire team, right? That like seemingly small mistake where you walked in on right side and just walked into 4 people, right, and took all that damage and forced out your nemesis. Just completely drain your cooldowns, so you just couldn't commit on anything, right? If you just saved your cooldowns, right, waited for the guy to get the casket low, and then shielded, and then chucked the vortex on him, and you'd have like a really easy time staffing him. If you get pushed, no problem, you still have nemesis for him, right? Or if he overextends, you can nemesis the cast and just like get a pick on him fairly easily, right?
I will tear victory from your grasp.
It appears we have suffered a minor setback.
Normally I'd be zooming or like speeding up through this, but I don't do it right now, just because the replay view is a little bugged. Here, I'm not the biggest fan of you just dumping all your cooldowns on the Ram, right? He's near cover, and no one else on your team can shoot him, right? I guess your Mei can now because she's super close. But you see, you're forcing your Mei by like engaging this Ramatra to play into the shield, and like look how bad her positioning is right now. Like literally the entire team can see her. I mean, I guess the wall just dropped, right? But like you're baiting your team to like commit on this Ramatra because you're chucking all of your cooldowns on him, but he's just unkillable. And again, right, like shield wasn't too great, because he can just like rotate away, right? Like he's also uselessly dumping his cooldowns, but as you get higher ranks, what tanks will do, instead of they see you use both your cooldowns at this angle here, what they'll do is they'll just walk away from here, right? Walk here, right? And now your cooldowns get literally no value, right? Depending on where their team is, or they'll literally just walk out in the open like this and just like completely avoid your shield in general, right? So when you waste stuff like this, they won't respond by doing the same to you. They'll use the fact that you wasted it and then open up an angle on your team and like even get more value than this guy did. Little goofy, right? You probably should have just kept punching the Sojourn. There's no reason to keep moving around, right? You can literally stand still if you need to. Yeah. Probably should have gotten that kill. Again, you're kind of wasting all, like, I don't like the ult in general, because the only target you really had was the Ramacha, right? When it's just two tanks beating each other up, like, generally speaking, no one's gonna die. You have to look for an opening elsewhere, right? Because you're just kind of going blow for blow, like, you literally just exchange literally all your cooldowns, right? You have better opportunities elsewhere. You see, no cover here, and you just get blown up for it, right? Like, it doesn't take much to die as tank if you're out of position, right? You're pretty much only getting shot by the Sojourn.
This ends now.
Here, you shouldn't even be walking forward, right? When the Sojourn pops ult, like, I would respawn or rewind, sorry. But she literally popped ult, and I think you're the only one peeking her, like, all this far away, right? When she pops ult like that, literally just don't even peek. Literally just stand here, just let her get no value from her ult, right? And just completely waste it, right? Yeah, that was a horrible ult by her. You're giving a ton of value by walking in and taking this engagement for no reason, right? One, the problem is you almost die for it, too. And the second problem is that you see you're baiting your entire team to walk now because you decided to fight a Sojourn and all, right? You still have like a lot of time on the clock to touch the cart. So there's literally no reason to be like forcing this fight. Yep. Definitely avoidable, right? I mean, literally, the play there is to do quite literally nothing, right? Like her positioning, that ult was really bad. You just kind of like walked into it for no reason. I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to take a bit of a risk here and go forward, and hopefully the game does not crash.
Ready for battle.
Okay, we're lucky. So, yeah, there's no point in just watching the sap timer. Okay, so we swapped the Sig for defense. I think Sig's I think your character selection's been pretty decent, right? Obviously you're not a one-trick or anything, so I think Sig's probably the best tank to use in your lineup, right? Your support lineup is unfortunately not very good. It is what it is sometimes, right? He's probably like the lowest heal tank in the game. I guess Ball would be another option too, right? But Sig is definitely more, more like you definitely have a poke lineup. You have a pocketed Ash, the Zen, the Sig. It all works, right? You're right. Like you're not getting value out of this shield, right? You see, like you only had a chance to shoot once, and your shield's like already half gone. Yeah. Not a fan of letting your shield get that low, right? You probably should have withdrawn it. Just let your shield recharge right here. If you really want to, what you could be doing right now, because you're up to, is opening up the angle for your team, right? Well, I guess they just respawn now. Opening up the angle for your team, right? You get to be a little sooner and just getting spam damage, right? Because you're perfectly safe. If you get hooked, like you're not gonna die, right? You had your grasp. You unfortunately kind of wasted it, right? And if the hog keeps peeking, like if he tries to challenge you out here, right? He's just gonna get blown up by your team, right? If you bait him in the open, he's just gonna die. Kind of a lost opportunity. Not the end of the world though. It's fine. I'm not really a big fan of playing here, but if your team's gonna play here, right, might as well spam with them, right? Not a fan of that rock, obviously. Once Hog uses his hook, generally in the Hog matchup, once he uses his hook, you just want to withdraw your shield. Yeah. If you had your rock right now, like this Hog could just die, right? I probably would have used Grasp for the res, right? Shield at the very least. You kind of shield a little too far back. Right? Shield is, right, probably should have withdrawn that one. Yeah, you know the Hulk's still top right. 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 When he hooks, just withdraw it. Unfortunate. I have no clue why he bounced in the air like that. I think maybe jumped off the thing. A little close, right, on Sig. When you don't have an advantage, you generally want to be spamming them, forcing them into like choke points and just spamming them, right? Yeah, and just like wasting their resources so you can kill it on them later in the fight, right? You don't want to be this close to the Hog, generally. Mismanage the shield, right? You put up the shield, right, and he doesn't hook you, he hooks your bastion, or like doesn't go for you, he goes for your bastion instead. You see you put up your shield here, and you continue to walk to the left, what you should be doing is like, just continue walking to the right, right? Yeah, I mean, kind of, that's all there is to that one, right? But the primary issue is that you just let them get too close, right? I mean, you're just playing that choke for too long. Once your Mercy got the res, right, you just had to back off. You're just down players, right? And because you have low healing, your team just can't like tank you, unfortunately. Here, be aware, your team's dead here. I don't mean the Bastion, right? Let's say here, right, chasing this Hog is really bad. You had a better target here, right? You just rock her and just shoot her once, she'll die. The problem with going for the Hog now is that you don't have your shield, right? Because it's still up, right? Definitely a big thing with Sig, you have to be more cognizant of withdrawing your shield when you don't have it. Or when you don't need it, sorry. But now, if he just shoots you and then hooks you out of your grasp, you're just gonna die, right? Like, he gives you an opportunity to live here, just because he messes up. I will say, right, better target in the Sojourn. Unfortunate. When you hit the rock, you have an opportunity just to like slow down for a second because their movement's literally like constrained, right? So. Right. Not a fan of taking the fight this close again, right? One, I think your Bastion was still dead. Two, like on Sig, generally speaking, right, you don't want to be this close. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all there is to it, right? A lot of other small things you could have done differently there, right? Yeah, once you kill the Soch, you should like taking the kill and backed off the angle to like let your team regroup. Like, this is not what you want to be doing, right? Just draining all your resources. Like, and again, if this guy doesn't mess up again, you'd be dead there again, right? You have really low healing, so you don't want to be like taking the engage at a Hog at close range, because you just can't get healed off of it, right? What you could do instead is walk out this way, open up the angle for your team, and start like pressuring the back line, for example, with your Zen, right? Or just get the Hog to waste hook and then walk where he's not like actively body blocking. Probably already know what I'm going to say, right? Kind of wasted your shield, just let it in the open, right? It's okay. A little risky. In the future, save. I don't generally say you should save your cooldowns for specific things, but Mercy Res is probably one thing you should be saving Rock for, especially when she's in Valk, because she can still move around pretty easily. Yeah, once you got that pick, I would definitely be saving Rock for the Res, right? You can definitely push the Soch, right? I wasn't saying anything there. The big problem there was cover usage. You just didn't really get shot, right? You had an opportunity for example, to like open up the angle this way, right? You can only take damage from like this angle here, right? It's not the end of the world. This is a fight where you probably should just hit your shots a little sooner, but like you still get good value there, right? It's fine, right? Probably should have blocked the hook. Doesn't really matter. Unkillable here. What is that? Oh, it must be a perk. Here in this position, right, you should have known that they're a little overextended, right? You literally just killed their tank. You could be playing on the floor for now and spamming them. Maybe, you know, it's unlikely, but maybe, right? You spam the Surge a little. You just do like half her HP, and then like your Zen just like 2 orbs her or something, and eats, or she eats spam from your team, and she just gets killed. You force out res super early, right? Going top is like okay, but you did lose a potential opportunity for a pick. This is all fine, right? I don't think you meant to drop there. At least I hope not. It's like his poke tanks, right? Where you really want to be creating as many angles as possible, right? Because if the Ryan blocks now, and you stay high ground, right? I'm just assuming, not to say necessary you did. Like a lot of people have this issue of like trying to always mirror the enemy tank on Sig. Really, you have to let them walk a lot of the times and just open up an angle, right? Because what happens in higher ranks, right? If everyone's in one line, he just holds his shield, walks into your team, and then he just ferries his entire team here, where you can take a brawl fight and just like win because his numbers are better, right? What you need to do is open up angles for your team so he can't shield everywhere at once, right? And shoot the back line so some of the resources are diverted away from the Reinhardt, right? If you just like front line against Reinhardt, you're going to lose. Because his numbers are just better, right? What's his close? Say here, opportunity to ult. Here he doesn't have Suzu. And the Ryan was low, right? Everyone's pretty low. Here, like, this is not where you want to be against a Reinhardt, honestly. Probably should have landed high ground, right? I'm not a fan. You just kind of lost your opportunity to flex when they're all in here, right? Your Zen got them really low. It forced out Suzu, or I think you forced out Suzu. Right? You just had a better opportunity to flex there, right? But once you do that, you really want to be just landing high ground, just so you're hard to hit. Like, right? You can just fly in the sky, right? You can even land over here, for example, right? Or land with your Bastion. It doesn't really matter. You're just like way too exposed here, right? Obviously not where you want to be against a Reinhardt. He probably should have like shielded that off, right? He's making a big mistake still.
The answer remains nebulous.
Checking in.
See, I don't think you'll be able to get touched. Honestly, I would have back spawned this position. Since your Bastion's already here, you know, you have kind of no choice but to fight this. You see, like, when you're this close, right, when they're just one cooldown away, they just, like, literally dash and charge in, and you just don't have enough time to do anything, right? It's kind of like the poke thing, where if you're just too close, you just get overrun.
This ends now.
Just really, I mean, the big mistake there, where position-wise you're too close, you should have just back spawned, but, yeah. I mean, your team already committed, so not the end of the world, right?
Not so fast.
You might as well withdraw this, right? You're not getting value out of it, so. Not a fan of this rock, right? She's already behind cover. Just keep spamming her. Right? Wait for a better opportunity. That's okay, right? I would say I'm unsure which perk you chose. I guess you chose the one where you get more rocks when you eat stuff, right? If you chose the other perk where you get the increased stun duration for like longer range rocks, right? You maybe could have killed her there. It's still okay to like pressure her and force out support resources. So. Right, positional wise, this fight, I'm just watching to see what's happening in the middle of it, right? You're just playing too close. You see you're baiting your team into fighting this angle here, but your team does not want to be here, right? What your team wants is to like be able to set up here, to be able to set up top, right? And like be able to set up on the left, for example, in main, and just bait them into this long angle here where they don't have as much cover. But when you're coming close, you see you're kind of baiting your entire team to play like this corner, where the Ryan literally just walks here and just swings on everyone for free, right? This is like not what you want to be doing. Okay, it's good rocking principle, right? You know, sometimes you miss. I will say you're down both your supports, so you should have been backing up sooner too. Right, end up dying here, unfortunately. Close, unfortunately. I mean, you couldn't have touched because you would have just insta died there, anyways. Yeah. So, right. I guess in conclusion, I really want you to be working on those like three things, right? Positioning, right? Um, yeah, you want to be like setting up at angles where you more easily deny the enemy team like the places they want to walk through, right? Um, and obviously that looks different on every tank, right? Unfortunately, you didn't have like too much playtime on Ramatra, so I can't give you like specific pointers there, like out of what I said, right? But on Winston, right? You want to be playing like in those doorways or in high ground to like deny angles. And on Sig, you just want to be like spamming the choke so they can't peek for free, right? Um, Again, secondly, cover usage, right? And like to add on to this, right? Especially on Winston, you want to be considering where your team can like heal you from after you jump. Like I think that's more straightforward on like Ramatra and Sigma, like low mobility tanks. Um, right? Because it's harder to LOS people because you're just not very fast. Um, yeah, but you take a lot of unnecessary damage this game, right? And put yourself in positions where you just can't like get help from your team. Yeah, you should try to avoid doing this, right? Always be playing near cover so you can break LOS whenever you need to. Thirdly, right, cooldowns still need some work, especially your shield management, right? You kind of have a tendency just to waste shields and get no value from them. Um, you had some like good value from the Winston bubble sometimes, but other times, especially on like Sigma and Ramatra, you just kind of wasted your shields and they got literally no value, right? You just didn't have it for when you actually needed to use it, right? Okay, I hope this helps.